Hey guys, what's going on? It's officially busy season in the National Basketball Association. So you know what that calls for? Another edition of Cook's Corner. I'm going to break down some of the potential trade possibilities going on in the NBA right now and talk about free agency heading into Friday when teams can officially start talking to players. Now, we've already seen the Milwaukee Bucks be active in the trade market. They acquired both Bogdan Bogdanovic and Drew Holiday, and I think both these moves are an attempt to try to convince Giannis Antetokounmpo that this team is serious about winning, and they needed to acquire pieces like this to potentially push this team over the top. They hadn't been able to make enough noise in the postseason with their current core, and I think these two additions will make a big impact in Milwaukee. We know the Bucks needed to make these type of moves with Antetokounmpo's free agency looming, and I think these were the type of moves that could put this team over the top in the Eastern Conference, unless there's potentially a team in Brooklyn that makes some impact moves this offseason. So let's talk about Brooklyn, and this is a team that is very much so looking to acquire James Harden from the Houston Rockets. It's such a fascinating time, specifically with the Houston Rockets, where stars James Harden and Russell Westbrook reportedly both want out from the organization. There's been plenty of chatter around the NBA that James Harden turned down an extension from the Houston Rockets of over $50 million per year, which would make him the highest paid player in NBA history on a per year basis. Talk about a luxury to have, am I right? With James Harden potentially moving on from the Houston Rockets, the Brooklyn Nets seem like the ideal fit, as he wants to either go to the Brooklyn Nets or the Philadelphia 76ers in a trade. Now, I think both are certainly possibilities for Harden, but let's look at what might happen in Brooklyn if this team were to come to fruition. You would have James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving at the head of the table, and that's a pretty star-studded trio and would be able to match up with anyone in the National Basketball Association. Now, the biggest question mark surrounding this type of trio is, would it work? And my immediate answer would be no. You look at Durant, Harden, and Irving, and what did these three players have in common? They are all very ball-centric players. You look at the type of super teams that have occurred over the last decade, and specifically the Golden State Warriors. What was their recipe for success? They had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, and the biggest reason why this worked was that they were able to get along and they weren't the same type of players. They all didn't need to have the ball. Klay Thompson is a very good 3-and-D player for the Warriors. Steph Curry's a shooter for sure, but he doesn't always need to have the ball in his hands, specifically down the stretch when we know it's going to be in Kevin Durant's hands. Then you have a guy in the paint like Draymond Green who knows how to get it done defensively and can, of course, chip in offensively, but he doesn't need to have the ball in order to be successful. With this Brooklyn trio, I see that being a bit of a problem where three guys are all very ball-centric and they're all going to need to have the ball in order to find success on this team. Of course, that doesn't mean it won't work. I'm just very skeptical about this type of arrangement. When you look at the last 10 teams to win the NBA championship, there's a very common theme with all these teams. No team has won the NBA championship over the last 10 years without one of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard. And I find that stat to be very telling when you look at how to build a team in the NBA right now. What that also tells me is that James Harden is very serious about finally winning that first NBA championship, and he knows that the current core in Houston is just not going to get it done for him. And I see a very similar path with Russell Westbrook, who is rumored to be on the block for a potential player like John Wall, and I think that type of swap would be very interesting for both sides. The NBA is the one league where there's always going to be drama surrounding it all 12 months of the year, and I think that's what makes it so fascinating to follow, and this offseason is clearly no different. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. Comment below what you think about the James Harden and Russell Westbrook trade speculation, and let me know what you think about the NBA draft that's going down tonight. It's another very deep draft in the NBA. Looking forward to that as always. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.